If you are sick and tired of your paid campaigns not working and you want to scale to multiple six figures and you're a consultant, you run a service-based business, I'm going to show you the exact paid marketing strategy that I use on Meta to grow and generate hundreds of leads every single month and make loads of sales, 30 plus sales a month. Now, for context, I've spent over 200 grand, maybe 250 grand on paid ads. That doesn't include all the clients that I've helped use paid ads. And on top of that, I've made a ton of mistakes. I'm not sitting there telling you that, everything's worked. So I'm going to show you the exact strategy that I would use for coaches, consultants. And if you're wondering how much you need to spend, the first thing I would say is you need to be willing to spend anything from 1 to 3 grand a month on ads at a minimum. If you do not have a budget for ads and you want to run a low cost paid campaign, I will make a video on that. But today we're getting into people that want to spend money and invest in their business, because if you are a consultant or if you run a service-based business, even a local business, you need to invest in your business. I'm tired of talking to business owners that don't want to invest. How can you run a business and not invest? Are you stupid? Anyway, sorry. Let's go. I didn't mean it. Let's get into it. So you're going to have some typical concerns, right? And I've got my notepad here and I got my laptop here. I would assume you've probably tried running ads before and you've worried about lead quality, or you've ran ads before, but they failed in terms of the cost per lead was so high, it wasn't worth it. Or you've tried all the other things that happen. So, but before you complain about lead quality, we need to just make some house rules. Your actual ad needs to be good, right? So you need a hook. Think about how I started this video. I started the video by saying, if you're sick and tired of your paid marketing campaigns failing, I'm going to break down how I generate XYZ for consultants. So I've hit you at a pain point because you probably had a paid campaign that failed. So your hook needs to be good. Then the body of your ad needs to actually explain something. Ideally, I like to teach. I use 2 mechanisms. I either introduce a new method or I break an old myth. That's how I like to teach, because most people are used to hearing the same thing over and over again. And then I also have a call to action in my ads. That's the basics. That's my house rule. Okay. And the next thing we need to talk about is your ICP, your ideal client persona. We have to think about who is the person that you want to work with. I'm not saying you need to go super niche, but you do need to think about who do you actually work with? What problem do you solve for them? And there's 2 ways I think about a niche, right? The niche could be demographics. It could be women. It could be men. It could be even ethnicity. But also I think about the problem I solve is almost more important, right? So the problem you solve is really, really critical. If you can highlight that, I promise you, you can make a huge difference, and you can actually help a lot of people if you just have it clear who you're trying to help, what problem you're trying to solve. That's one thing. That's one aspect. Then your scripts. As long as you've come up with really, really good scripts and it's very clear, that's it. All right. Let's break down the overall structure. This video might be long, so you're going to get pen and paper for this. The first thing here is we have our ad. I'm really going to go through the actual structure of it though. So the first thing that we have is the ad. So that encompasses everything that I spoke about, right? And really it needs to be for your ICP. So you need to make it crystal clear who it's for. And when you make the ad, my advice is at least have 5 ads minimum, but I would really push you to have 10, right? So 10 ads, and I would just try and keep it all video. I'm not saying to never use image ads, but keep it all video to start off with, especially if you're good on camera. Getting good on camera is going to help you a ton. So all video ads, get good on camera. That's the first part of the process. Run ads, get good on camera. The next part after that, your ads are created, everything's there. So 10 ads. I would start off with videos, but if you need to use images, that's fine. But I would try and start off with videos. Once the ads are made, we need to set up Ads Manager. Now, I'm going to show you exactly how I like to set up my Ads Manager, but you've obviously got your campaign level. So I'm just going to draw a big thing here. That's going to be your campaign, okay? Excuse my writing. So your campaign is going to be very, very important. Within that, I like to have 2 ad sets, okay? So 2 ad sets. So we'll call it ad set 1 and then ad set 2. For context, when I'm running this campaign, I'm actually going to make sure I'm not going to do a CBO campaign. All right. I'm going to spend the budget on the ad set level for the sake of this, especially when I'm first launching. I'll talk about other campaigns. I'm just giving you the best practices that I like to use right now. We've got a consultant client who we generated 28 calls in 10 days. So I know this works, right? But I'm spending the money. I'm going to just put money sign on this level, yeah? So the money is only being spent on this level, not a campaign budget campaign, All right. So, and the reason I do this is so I can control as many variables as possible. I will let Meta take over at some stage, but for now, this is it. So ad set level, right? Cool. So now we've got this. Obviously, I've got 5 ads. For the sake of this, I'm going to do 5 ads, right? But there's a reason why I've decided to go with 2 ad sets. I'll explain each ad set now. So I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So we've got campaign, ad set 1, ad set 2. Ad set 1 is going to be broad, which means I am not going to put any targeting on there. There are some hard parameters that I would put, which would be something like, if my offer was only for women above the age of 40, then I would put some gender demographics on there. It would be women and it would be 40 years old, right? If my offer was local, I run a local business, it would be only within the radius of South London or whatever it is, right? So broad but minimal demographics, no interest, okay? I always turn off advanced detailed targeting, because what that means is Facebook and Instagram, they're going to start looking for people beyond the parameters that I've set, and usually the quality is crap. So I turn it off. Do not turn it on. Turn it off, okay? Placements, I place them everywhere. Let Facebook and Instagram decide. They will get you the best leads. Let them place. The only time I turn off placements is if I notice that my best leads are coming from one platform. Like for us, we notice our best leads come from Instagram. So we just place it on Instagram. But I have to run it first. So for now, leave the placements as they are. Okay. Ad set 2. So I'm just going to put 1 and 2. I'm just going to put C for campaign. Ad set 2, I do put interest, right? But you know what I found of interest? People get these wrong. Let's say you're trying to target women that are interested in getting married, right? The ads that I would run for them wouldn't be women interested in getting married, because that's not an interest on Facebook. I would put things that are adjacent to that. So I would put things like wedding dresses, but also put things like dresses or makeup or catering. I'd put like these things that are adjacent to the interest, not the specific interest, because actually you don't need that. You don't need it all the time. So that's what I would do. And obviously you would put your demographics. So that would be if it's women over the age of 30 or men, so on and so forth. So that's how I set my ad set. Okay. So I select my audiences and I do it based on that, and obviously based on what you kind of need. The next thing is obviously your ads. Remember, I said 5 to 10 ads. You are going to use the same ads on both ad sets. All right, so you just create 5 on one, you duplicate it into the other ad set. So that means it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and these ads are going to be the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, so that means video 1, video 2, video 3, video 4, video 5, video 1, video 2, video 3, video 4, video 5 are all going to be the same. Okay, so there's no difference on the ads. So now with the ads, you just do a video ad, make sure you put the right placement, upload them, you're good to go. All right. So I'm going to just break down how I shoot my ads, how I make the ads. Okay. So the best way to think of the ads is this. So you can shoot them at scale. When you record your ads, you want to script 10 hooks, right? So I script 10 hooks. So the hooks are the first 3 to 5 seconds. Script 10 of them. You shoot your video and you shoot 10 of them. For context, you can shoot the videos on your phone. You can use a camera like me. It doesn't matter. If you're going to use your phone, use your back camera, 24 frames per second or 30 frames per second, 4K quality, and then use a lapel mic or use a quality mic like this. It's up to you, but sound quality is very, very important. And ideally, you want the best video quality you can get with what you have. It does not need to be special. In fact, some ads, they're just selfie videos with like a straight to the point offer. That's the main thing. Your hooks, we want to be able to record these at scale. So that's why I say you want to make like 10 hooks and then 2 bodies, right? So if you've got 10 hooks and 2 bodies, 10 times 2, what does that equal? You've got 20 ads, yeah? And the bodies of your video, right? So I'm just going to write here, 2 bodies. The bodies of your video basically explain your offer, what you do and how it works. I'll give you a live example right now. If you're a woman over the age of 30 who wants to drop 10 pounds of body fat, I'm going to introduce to you my new 3-step metabolic priming solution. The first thing is it's very different to what you've tried out there. It's not like keto and it's not like going no carb. In fact, it's probably the best method that has been kept a secret for years. First things first, we actually test your metabolism to find out, is your metabolism actually slow? Once we work that out, we then craft a specific diet for you based on where you're at right now. And the very, very last thing that we do is we give you a gym program that's specific specific to you and your age. Okay, so most programs are based on, you know, how strong you are, or you have access to the gym. This program is based on your age, so it's very unique. If you really want to get started and you know that you want to lose weight and you want to become the best 40-year-old you can be, I'm giving away the exact process for free. I'm not charging you for it. All you've got to do is press the link below this video and it's all yours, because it's the same process that I've used to help Vikisha, Janine and Stacey lose 20 pounds over the age of 40. So it's never too late. You can still be sexy at 40. Press the link, it's all yours. All right, so I just did that off the top of my head. What I would do is that hook that I used, I'd make 10 of those hooks, right? 2 bodies. So that's the body I just said after. I'd make another version of that. And then my editor puts all those hooks together with those 2 different bodies. I've got 20 videos to test. Now, if you have a big budget, anything less than probably 25, 30 pound a day, I would just test 5. If you've got a small budget, do that. If you've got a big budget, then I would just test 10 at a time. It's fine. Test 10 at a time. You spend £100 a day or £150 a day, test 10 at a time. Simple. All right. So now we've got 20 videos to test. We test obviously these at a time. All right. So now I've uploaded my videos. They're ready to go. They're being tested. I'm just going to explain the testing period before I get into the actual funnel and what happens after you get a lead, because the number one thing, the most important thing is what happens after. A lot of us get so excited about bringing in the leads, but we forget about what happens after, and that's the key factor. So let me explain to you what I like to do. I let my ads run for at least 5 to 7 days before I touch anything. I have to let it run for 5 to 7 days. My KPIs, generally speaking, and obviously it depends, but my KPIs are 1% CTR minimum. I want a holding rate of at least 25%. And a hold rate is basically how many people end up watching 3 seconds of the video all the way to the, like 15 seconds. My hook rate, I'm trying to aim for 30%. So that's how many people actually watch the first 3 seconds of the video. That's my hooks. After that, obviously I'm looking at my cost per lead and my cost per booked call. So CP, let's just call it booked. And then obviously my cost per acquisition, but that might take a bit of time. Obviously your cost per lead is important, but I'm really focusing on how much it costs for me to book a call. So this requires you to track your data, which we'll get into in a second. But you need to track how much is it costing you to actually book a call. Your cost per lead doesn't really matter that much if you can't get calls booked. So how much is it costing you to book a call? So that's very important. And then obviously, how much is it costing me to acquire a client? Because what is it costing me to book a call versus what is it costing me to acquire a client is really, really important. That's all I need to know. So that leads me to obviously tracking your closing rate as well, CR. Okay, so those are my KPIs that I'm tracking and I'm keeping an eye on. Now I know that I let my ads run for 5 to 7 days. Are they in line with the KPIs that I've set? 1% click-through rate. Is my hold rate good? What's my cost per lead? Am I happy with that? Am I comfortable with that? How much am I paying for a booked call? And then what's my closing rate? If I book 20 calls, how many did I close on top of that? So then that tells me how much it cost me to acquire a client based on how much I've spent, what it's costing me to book a call, and then obviously the cash collected. So that lets me know what it's costed me to acquire a client. Once I do that, eventually I will be looking at my lifetime value of a client, because if I know I can keep a client for 6 months and they generate me 7 grand and it cost me 600 to get a client, happy days. I'm willing to spend 600 to make back 7 grand easily. So then I know I can spend a shit ton more money. And that's really what I want to try and do. I want to get to the point where I can spend tens of thousands of pounds online. And that's what I want to get to. Like, we're still working towards that point. So I want to get there where I can spend 10 grand, 15 grand, 30 grand on advertising every month. Not 6 months, every month. So that's what we're trying to get to, right? But we need these numbers to make that happen, right? So that's one thing. Now, the actual system after you get a lead. So obviously your ad is optimized to collect an email, a phone number, and get a call booked, right? Generally speaking anyway, for most funnels. Once we have all of that like dialed in, our next thing is what's the system that takes place when you get a lead. So I'm going to show you what we do. First things first, right? Let's just call it opt in. We get a lead opt in. The first thing that happens is they get an SMS, an email, and ideally we also call them, okay? So this is literally within 5 minutes, yeah? So within 5 minutes, they get SMS, email, and a phone call. The phone call is either from you or someone on your team. A text message, automated. The email, automated. The text message and the email is just to get them to respond, so we can then get them booked in. Or we get them to watch the landing page again, okay? So they opt in. As well as that, they also end up on the landing page. The landing page should have a video, right, with your calendar right underneath, so they can book a call with you, right? So excuse my drawing, they opt in, they get the text message, they get the email, they get the call, and they end up on the landing page, right, with video and your calendar. That's the main thing. Now, from here, over a 14-day period, they're going to get SMS, emails, ideally 2 or 3 every week. Ideally, they get one of these every other day, because if they haven't booked in and you haven't made the sale yet, you need to stay on their ass, okay? Pretty much. Once that happens, if you do not convert them, they just become what I call long-term nurture. Okay, so I'm just going to write this down. Long-term nurture. That basically means right now, you can't get them to buy right now, which is fine. Only 3% of your market's going to buy like right now. So your long-term nurture is email sequences, it's text messages, and it might be the odd phone call every now and then. You're not going to phone them every week. You're going to phone them maybe once every 30 days. You're going to text and email them every other week, or email every week, text maybe every 2 or 3 weeks, right? So long-term nurture, I like to think of this in 90-day cycles. So that's what happens after. So you automate this. We use a software to automate this. The link is in the description. So we build out these automations for our clients as I'm showing you this. This is what we build for you, right? So you build this. The softwares you can use, I'll just use the software that we use. You can have the same systems that we use. Links in the description. It's all yours. So we build that out. It's pretty simple to follow at this stage. Once this is done, basically, from here, there's a couple of things we like to do. So we retarget all these people that have ended up here, and they go back into an email sequence and a text sequence. So if they don't buy, they go into retargeting, and then we also do some more ads. These ads are warm ads. These are retargeting ads. So we retarget everyone that's opted in but didn't buy or book a call with us. We basically hit them up with retargeting ads with a new offer, a new angle, or with testimonials to just nurture them so they get used to us, and they're now in our world. They're immersed in our world. The budget for this is really low. It's only like £5 to £10 a day. It's a very low budget system, but it works. So now all of this is built. There's a couple things on the back end that we do need to build. This is very important for you consultants out there, for you business owners out there. Okay, let's talk about what happens after someone books a call. So when they go through this process and a call's booked, yeah, so let's just call it booked call. There's something that we have to do. We have to almost bombard them with content, because they do not know us. They just saw an ad. They don't know us. So we have to bombard them. And for me, I like a lot of touch points. Some people say, no, don't do it. If they come from an ad, I'm doing it. I'm sorry, I'm doing it. If it didn't come from an ad, I wouldn't do it. But from an ad, they don't know me. So I'm trying my best. So with this, they book a call with me. I'm going to send them, obviously, a confirmation email. They're also going to land on the thank you page. But more importantly, I'm sending them YouTube videos. Yeah. So YouTube videos and emails. And this, I'm going to try and send them like 6 to 8 pieces of content, right, before they get on the call with me, before that appointment takes place. And I just want them to watch one. If I can get them to consume one. But the reason I sent them so much volume is because most people will ignore it. And before this appointment, I want them, listen to me, I want them to know everything about my offer before we get on the call. I'm tired of doing sales calls that are discovery calls. No, they need to know everything about what we do before the call takes place. So all the content that we just create here, yeah, this booked call section, it needs to answer every FAQ that you have. And if you don't know what to do, go download something called Fathom, record all your sales calls, take the transcripts from those sales calls, put them into ChatGPT and say to ChatGPT, hey, what are the top 10 questions people ask me about my offer? And what are the top 10 questions or top 10 objections I get? And then make videos about that. Okay, and your emails and your YouTube videos that they get before the call needs to answer every question, right? Bang, job done. Okay, you take the call, you make the sale. Happy days, yeah? Lovely jubbly. You get paid. But there's also the people that don't buy. So now with coaches and consultants and service-based business owners, you need to start making sure your brand is on point. And that means posting organic content, which is what I'm doing right now. Organic content. Yeah. And this organic content needs to be your number one platform, which you're going to be surprised when I say this. It's not Instagram. It's not LinkedIn. It is this thing that you're watching this on right now. And that is YouTube. Okay. So YouTube videos, YouTube 1 to 2 times per week. You want to build a brand. The reason I say this is because YouTube is searchable. The number 1 search engine on the planet is Google. The number 2 search engine on the planet is YouTube. Who owns YouTube? Google. So your content needs to be searchable. It needs to be specific. You need to package it correctly. For example, this video is about, what's the title? I've got the title written here. The title of this video is How I Run Facebook Ads for Consultants in 2025, Full Tutorial. It's a tutorial, right? People want to know this. People want to know about Facebook ads. So that's why I set it up and I put it on YouTube, because if people are searching, they can find me and I can use this to my email list, right? The next thing I would then look at is really what's the number 1 platform that your target audiences on? Usually it's going to be one of two. I'm just going to put IG or LinkedIn. Yeah, these are my favorite spots. The content that you post on IG or LinkedIn needs to be slightly different. So you can't post the same things, but you need to be posting on these platforms, and you don't need to go crazy, but I'll probably say 2 to 4 times per week, right? That's enough. And LinkedIn and Instagram are different. So the type of content you post will be slightly different, but that's going to help you out. Now, emails. You've got an email list from all the ads you've been running. You should be doing emails 2 to 3 times per week. And you kind of want to send emails that give a ton of value. And I would say every 2 weeks, you should be having one that has a very hard call to action to book a sales call with your team, right? Then additional thing that you should be doing is 2 times a month, you should be doing a live workshop. Do a webinar or a workshop. You teach stuff for free and invite everybody on Zoom. Like, just invite your whole email list for free. Promote it everywhere, okay? For free. Yes, give away stuff for free. The right people will invest. The people that understand the value in what you do will invest. Okay, so you do a live workshop 2 times a month, or you can do it once a month, but really promote it hard. Make it at a time slot people can arrive and show up at, and you'll be fine. Okay, so I do all of this to then nurture the 30 to 40% of people that didn't buy. Okay, so these are the non-buyers. The non-buyers are going to be inundated with me. So eventually they will turn into buyers. So I've shown you how I do all of this. Now, my business Scaling Edge, we do all of this for you. We set it up for you. We even help you shoot your ads. We script your ads. We script your VSL. We make your landing page. We do 90% of the heavy lifting for you. So if you are making above 10 grand a month, or you've got a 6-figure business and you're in a service-based space, doesn't have to be online. As long as you need leads, we will double your lead flow in 30 days. Press the link in the description. I will build all of this for you. And, you know, I'll do it for you, like, so you can't fail. All right. But if you're broke, don't do it. Don't call us. If you know you're making money and you want to scale aggressively, then I really want to talk to you. The link is in the description. I hope you found this useful. Peace.